Today, we're going to learn about a parameter. Parameter is kind of like a variable, like in algebra, where you have x plus 3 equals y. You could put anything you want into x, as long as it was a number. All right, so a parameter allows you to make something very generic, not specific. The number 3 is very specific. A 3 will always be a 3. But a variable, x, could be any number. So today we're going to learn about parameters. And the example we use is from the Examples tab. So you could open Alice, open the Example tab. We're going to scroll down. Where are my examples? Oh, the textbook tab. Sorry, textbook tab. Sorry, textbook tab. In chapter 4, we have Beatle Band. We're going to open that one. Now, this is one you're going to want to keep because one of the exercises that you're going to do later, not today, requires you to change this. So make sure you save it. Let's do a save right now. Go up to File, Save World As, because this is a textbook program. I'm going to save it as Beatle Band. I'm going to save it. Make sure you do a save as, because it won't let you do a save. Now that you did a save as, every time it asks you to save it, now you can just do save. All right, the first thing we want to do is we want to associate sounds with these 4 instruments: the bass guitar, the regular guitar, the timbales, cowbell, and the sax. So how we do this is we click. Now there are 4 sounds in a folder in Schoology that you need to download. So go ahead and pause the video, go to Schoology, go to the folder 4-2, and download those sounds. Then start the video again, and I'll show you how to associate them. So I'm going to click on the bass, go to Properties, go to Sounds, and we're going to import a sound. All right, so I'm going to go to where my sounds are. Four dash 2 sounds. All right, so this is the bass guitar. So I'm going to click on the bass guitar wave sound. I'm going to import it. Now you can play it, you can hear it. All right, so now the guitar has a sound associated, the bass guitar has. Now we're going to go to the guitar one, the electric guitar one. We're going to import a sound. And here's the guitar sound. This one. All right, so now we're going to do the tambourine, which I made as a drum sound. So we're going to import drum sound. Guess I should have saved it on the desktop. Would have been much quicker. Drum sounds. And now the sax. Notice it defaults to the desktop every time. So now we have all the sounds associated, right? So this guy is George Beetle, and he has a guitar. George has the guitar. Lennon Beetle has the bass. Ringo Beetle has the cowbells, drums. And Paul Beetle has the sax. So what we're going to do is we're going to write this program in such a way that everything is very specific first. When you're using parameters, you make it specific first, and then you make it generic. All right? So what we're going to do is we're going to call this method called a George solo. Go to world. All right, so George in the world. I'm going to click on the world. Going to go to methods. Going to make a method, create a new method, and we're going to call it George solo. George solo. All one word with the solo capitalized. Then in George solo, we're going to put a do together. Then inside this do together, we're going to put a do in order. So George, we're going to click on George. George is going to move up. How far does he move? He moves up 0.5 meter. And he does it in 0.5 second. Then we're going to copy this because what goes up must come down. So it comes down. And at the same time, George is going to make a noise. Play a sound. George, play sound. And we're going to choose, remember George has got the guitar, so we're going to choose the guitar. Now this method is very specific. This method is very specific. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it generic. We're going to make it generic by adding parameters. So over here to the right, there is a gray box. It says create new parameter. We're going to click on that button. A GUI window shows up and it asks for the name. The name of our parameter is going to be band member. Now, band member has a particular data type. All right, it's in computer programming, different things are different data types. So band member, George, Paul, Lennon, and Ringo, they're not numbers. So they're not numbers. They're not Boolean. Boolean is true or false. Those Beatles are objects. So click on the bubble just to the left of the object. So band member is an object. Click OK. And notice now we have this parameter up here. And in front of it you have a little icon that says OBJ. That stands for object. So everywhere, now what we're going to do is everywhere you see George Beetle, George Beetle, George Beetle, we're going to replace George Beetle with this parameter. So George Beetle goes into each one of those. All right. So now we're going to add another parameter. And this parameter is going to be instrument. Now, an instrument is not a number, it's not Boolean, but it is an object. So make sure the bubble next to object is chosen. And now we're going to replace the band member's guitar with instrument. No, that's a sound. So this, all right, so the instrument, we're going to place this instrument. The instrument is going to play a particular sound. All right. So you have the two band members that are going to go up and down, but the instrument is going to play a particular sound, not the band member. All right, instrument. Now we need a sound. Create a new parameter. This is going to be music. Now notice sound is not here, but if you click other, you can go down to this drag down menu and choose sound. So this is a sound, and now we're going to put sound into sound. All right. Now, so this band member goes up and down 0.5 meters in half a second. The instrument plays a sound. If you go back to the world, you notice that George Solo now requires this information when you first pull it over. Right? Now what we're going to do, because this is not this, all right, so we're also this 0.5, we're going to make another parameter, and we're going to click a number, and we're going to call this height. So this is how tall he goes. So we can put this 1, 2, 3 height into the 0.5 and the 0.5. So that's another parameter. Now what we've taken is we've taken a very specific method and we've made it generic. Now this name, George Solo, applies to all of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click over here. I'm going to rename this guy, and I'm just going to call this Solo. That's all it is, Solo. Oop, cancel. All right, so this is a solo now. It's world.solo. So we're going to go to my first method, and in a do in order, because we want them to play one at a time, we're going to drag over solo. We're going to put solo in there. Now we need 4 things. So it's going to say, you're going to get, so we're going to choose, let's see, the first guy is what? George. Tire George. And what instrument does he play? He plays the guitar. So we're going to choose the guitar. And what music does it play? It plays the guitar sound. And how high do we want him to jump? We want him to jump 0.5. So then we go back to the world. We drag over solo again. And the second guy is Lennon. So we choose Lennon, entire Lennon. His instrument is the bass. So he's got the bass. What music does the bass play? it plays the bass sound, and his height is going to be 0.5. So this method that we're using are using the parameters. It's kind of like X, Y, and Z in a math problem. Now, the next person is Ringo. So we want Ringo, entire Ringo. Ringo is playing the cowbell thingies. And I'm going to make him make the drum sound, right? And he goes up 0.5. And we're going to do it one more time for the last member. We choose Lennon, right? Did we have Lennon already? No, we want Paul. Paul, entire Paul. And this Paul, is that Paul? Yeah, Paul. Paul plays the sax. The sax makes a sax sound, and he goes up half a meter. Now, when we play this, it will choose the right variable. It's like when you use a formula and you know what X, Y, and Z are, you plug them in and then you come up with the right answer. These methods are using the parameters to choose what object to act upon. Now, I want to show you something that happens a lot. All right, so if I'm going to drag over this method one more time, and I'm not going to put anything in for the red nuns. When the program reaches those red nuns, the program should stop. Notice it crashed. Because we did not specify in my first method what variable should be run, the program crashes. So if you have that happen in your programs in the future, it's because you have not defined the parameter when you actually called upon that method in the method call. So finish this up and upload it to the Turnitin on Schoology.